Do you have any inside information on Daniel Jones's injury that you can share? Because obviously that's at the top of Giants fans' minds.
Yeah, absolutely. Daniel Jones is getting an MRI today to examine what's going on with that hamstring. Hamstrings are tricky. I mean, if you guys watched the game yesterday, you saw, he was grimacing. He went out for a series. Colt McCoy came in. He was doing a little work on the sideline, walking and kind of taking those quick steps. But that first play, you saw he was just not able to push off that right leg. And that hamstring is a tricky one because it's different. It's when you're walking, when you're kind of jogging, it can be fine. But when you really try to activate and push off and throw off of it, you could see he wanted to play through it, but he just couldn't. So they're going to be careful because hamstrings, we've seen players deal with them. They come back, and that's an injury that oftentimes a player will come back sooner than they should because it feels good and it feels fine, but it still needs a couple more days. It's what, a couple of players I was talking to yesterday say, hey, if you've had a hamstring injury, the second you feel like you're 100%, give it a couple more days. So they're going to do an MRI, see what the status of it is. But Colt McCoy, a veteran in this league, will be ready to step up if he needs to when the Giants play the Seahawks this coming Sunday.
Now, speaking of stepping up, that defense of the New York Giants definitely made some big plays, especially Leonard Williams playing for his paycheck, what it seems like, with this upcoming offseason coming up. With the Seahawks, coming up next week, they're going to air it out. It's going to be let Russ cook going on. Where do you see the Giants defense going forward to kind of hold the fort if we lose Daniel Jones for a week, 2 weeks, or even longer?
Knock on wood.
Yeah, I mean, the expression...
Hey, I'm a realist, okay? Right? I'm a realist, Monica.
It's all right. We're throwing jabs like that Tyson fight the other night. But I think that, the expression is defense wins championships. I'm going to remix it and say defense wins the division. The Giants' defense has been key for this team. I mean, 2 or more sacks in each of the games that they've played this year. And they've, like we saw this last game, that final play in that final minute, Jabal Sheard with the sack, Leonard Williams with the recovery. The defense has made huge plays towards the end of the game. It's going to be a pivotal unit. And we've also seen, Logan Ryan stepping up as not only as a playmaker, but as a leader. James Bradberry, that man needs a Pro Bowl nod. I mean, he has been shutting down receivers. And when you look at, the Seahawks in that matchup, I mean, Russell Wilson is having an MVP caliber season, well-deserved. That offensive line is a little shaky. I know that they scheme it so that he runs away from the pressure, but if the Giants can get some pressure on Russ and kind of force him into those situations where he makes some of those decisions, because we have seen that side of Russ where he can throw a pick or 2 or 3. And the Giants have been in every game this year, too. I mean, we've seen they were in it with Tampa Bay before the Bucs started kind of on that downward trajectory. They were in it with every team except for the 49ers, which that was the first game after Saquon went out. So they were still trying to find their rhythm. I don't know. I mean, I think that this Giants team is trending upwards, and a lot of it is because of that defense.
Okay, so the defense obviously is stepping up. Wayne Gallman extends his 5-game touchdown streak. He's playing good ball right now. What's working so well for him?
Yeah, one of the things I really like about Joe Judge and this coaching staff is that they model the game plan after the skill set of their players. Instead of like some coaches do saying, hey, this is my system and we're going to put you into my system. He says, okay, what are my players good at? And we're going to put you into that. We're going to put you in a situation to succeed. And, this offensive line has been really coming together. They've been working a little bit north and south with Wayne down the middle instead of going around the edges. And, he's got a career-high 6 touchdowns on the season, coming off a career-high 94-yard gain. Hasn't quite gotten to that century mark yet, but I think he will before the end of this year. And he's really kind of got that confidence, too, of the coaching staff. They really believe him. They believe in him, and they're putting him in a position to succeed. He's been on this Giants roster since 2016, but he's, had a lot of situational things that haven't worked out so far. But this one, it really seems like they're putting him in the best position to show off what he's good at.
Speaking of putting in players in the best positions to succeed, Evan Engram has absolutely exploded. He's been playing extremely well. He's played very well yesterday for the tight end position. And that's definitely going to be somebody who's going to get a lot of targets as a safety valve for either Colt McCoy or Daniel Jones. So what are your thoughts on Evan Engram's play as of late when it comes to, the offense and moving forward?
Yeah, I mean, you watch Giants fans on Twitter frustrated when, he's got a drop here or there, but then he completely redeems himself with a playmaking catch and, getting into the red zone and what have you. And the thing about Evan Engram is as a tight end, he is just a tricky matchup because he's not your classic tight end. He's not your classic receiver. And it's one of those things where we have seen him be a matchup problem for opponents. Getting down the field, it's just he's such a unique athlete and a unique character that he's been a great weapon for the Giants. We just want to see him continue to grow in that consistency in this home stretch of the season.
Consistency is the name of the game. Okay, we're going to switch gears now, my friend Madeline. And I understand that you are an artiste. Well, and it begs the question, is that an original piece of artwork behind you, my friend?
That is, yes. This is welcome to my art and apartment. This one actually, when I first moved to New York, I had a very high ceiling and a giant wall, and I didn't know what to do with it. And I was walking my dog, and somebody had just thrown out like a big painting. I think it was like a hydrangea or something, some red thing. And I was like, well, canvas is expensive. So I picked up the painting and I completely whitewashed it and then painted over it. And so this is the Golden Gate Bridge because I'm from California. Even though I'm from Southern California, I don't know, I love San Francisco. But yeah, I love to paint. It's a nice hobby, a nice pastime. I've always been pretty artistic and creative, and it's just, my little side hustle, even though it's not really a hustle. It's just what I do to decorate my own apartment.
So this is totally a safe space, but Kaz and I are going to be art critics really quickly, and we have a couple more pieces from Maddie Paints.
Yes, we did.
Please give us your impression as we take a look.
We did some light Instagram stalking, and we checking out. Was this the Chrysler Building
on this one
right here? Get your Bob Ross on real quick, man. Tell me about your inspiration behind this. Where were you? What was your what were you trying to think and do when it came to painting this?
It was a New York state of mind right here. I was doing a lot of this when I was painting it. But yeah, this one, it's a little zoomed in here, but that's just the top of the painting, but it is the full Chrysler Building and it's a silhouette of it. And I did one of the Chrysler, I did one of the Empire State Building, just kind of, it's one of those things like I've been painting a lot of bridges at that time. And I was like, let me do some buildings.
Speaking of bridges, I think bridges are a metaphor, Madeline, from one phase in life into the next. Speaking of bridges, we've got another one.
Ooh. Looks like we're in the middle of Williamsburg right here, checking out the Manhattan Bridge. Madeline, tell me all about this painting right here. This looks great, by the way.
Thank you. This is that spot that I'm sure you've seen every girl who has an Instagram who's been to Dumbo take a photo. But it is, I think it's such a beautiful spot, hey, we've all done it. I don't fault anyone, but it's such a beautiful spot, the way that the buildings kind of come together and the contrast of that blue. And it was just one of those things. I'm a big fan of bridges, as we can see from this.
So, dirty little secret. Well, when I first got to New York, I am that girl. I am her. I took a picture at that spot. But on Instagram, I tagged it the Brooklyn Bridge. And my homegirl was like, who lied to you? That is not the Brooklyn Bridge.
You were in Brooklyn, and that was a bridge. But it wasn't the Brooklyn Bridge. Yes. Absolutely.
Totally wrong. Well, Madeline, our friend, thanks for waking up with us this morning. Let us know where we can find your art. You know what I'm saying? I got a little extra wall space. Dan might have a fit, but I could work in some art back there.
All right, I get some back there. Get some new.
Seriously, I'm happy to. I made a whole art Instagram because I was like, I don't want to flood my page with paintings. But yeah, that one's Maddie Paints, or just regularly, you can follow me at Madelyn Burke. I'll keep you entertained.